Morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is 16 March 2021 today, and we have convened to discuss the new Metadata Editor. This is Yoel Kortick, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and we have with us Itai Veltzman from Product Management. And this is the fourth session of a four-part series so far. Maybe it'll become a five-part series once we continue with this. But now, as you see on this page, which I'm going to send out the link to everybody right now, we have a link directly to all of the different sessions we did, new metadata editors. On April 20th, we did it, April 22nd, excuse me, September 8th, January 19th, which, by the way, was also my birthday and my wedding anniversary, and 16 March, which is today. And if you click this, you'll go right to that section. Here we are, new metadata editor, March 16th, 2021. For those of you watching the video who did not get the link, we're in Home, Alma, Training, Extended Training, Presentations and Documents, Resource Management. So somebody asked, do the sessions build upon one another? Only in very rare cases do they build upon one another, because what we've done in these sessions is shown new features that have come out for that session. We do sometimes refer to a previous session. In fact, today we're going to refer to a previous session regarding the template management. But you can see one session and you won't be lost if you didn't see the previous ones. It's not like a Harry Potter series, where if you go read Harry Potter 5 and you didn't read 4, 3, 2, and 1, you won't really get it fully. It's not like that. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to go in the order that we have things here, and we're going to start with the authority control task list. And actually, we're not starting exactly with the authority control task list. We're starting with set management that results from the authority control task list. And very briefly only, we're going to look at these presentations. So what we're talking about now is set management in the new metadata editor. And let's jump in and do it. So I'm going to start by going to resources and the authority control task list. And let's see what we got here. We're going to choose a couple of records. Then we're going to send them to edit. And when we edit, we're going to see that we have a set. Now, not all records in new metadata in the authority control task list are editable in the metadata editor. Some of them go directly to F3. So for those, we're not going to get the ones, for example, that state preferred term correction, bib heading found no authorized term, that will go directly to the F3. But these two at the beginning, for example, will go to a set. Let's see. So I've selected some records, and I say edit selected, and that's going to open the metadata editor. And you see here we have sets. So it brought it right to sets. All of these records are in the sets. I have other sets open, which is why it says 3. For example, I have this set from this morning called Webinar March 16th morning. Let me see. Okay. I made it a little bigger so you can see, although that's not the desired way to use it. It's desired to do Control-O and use your default resolutions, but I made it bigger so everyone can see. So now I'm in a set called the authority controlled task list, and these are the records which came from the authority control task list. So that's a set inside Alma. And let's make another set here. Let's go to keywords on physical titles, and let's say library science. I should have a good amount there. By the way, a set of more than 200 records cannot be sent to the metadata editor. The limit is 200 records. 199 actually. So, which I don't think anyone has a real use case of wanting to put 300 records in a set in the metadata editor. The goal is to have them all together and start fine tuning them. This is 1,173. That's quite a bit. So what I'll do is say, how many do I have in the title? Okay, boom. We don't want to set up 1,000 records. Wow, I didn't realize I got so much of those. So I'll just do a different search. Okay, just so we got a smaller set that we can play around with. All right, 15 records. That's a nice one. So I'm going to save this, save query. And I will save it as a set. Let's say I will call this webinar March 16th afternoon. Because the other one I called the morning, the one I did this morning, and I'll save this. And now let's say we want to take all of the records in this set and put them in the metadata editor so that we can start editing them. So let's go get that set. Search for all sets with the word webinar in it. There we go. And now I have catalog set. When I click catalog set, it opens the metadata editor. And we've got the authority control task list, which we had from before. And now we have this set called webinar March 16th afternoon. And it is in here. Now, I just want to point out, if we go to the sets again, not all sets will give the option to catalog. Let's see something here. Just for the fun, I want to try something and have somebody see. I'm going to take this set. How come, who wants to tell me, how come this set is not giving me the option of catalog set, this first one? However, this third one does give me the option of catalog set. Who's going to be the first to answer our first trivia question? Users versus titles. That's right. This is a user set. Now, it has nothing to do with itemized. An itemized set, if it's physical titles, all titles can go to the cataloging mod, can go to the metadata editor. If it's a type users, then you can't. Also, there's a couple of other types which, of course, we don't. PO line, a set of PO lines, we also can't do. Okay, I just want to see something here. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to come here. Okay, I wanted to make sure what I stated was correct, and it is. This is an itemized set, all titles, and I can catalog. You can catalog. Whether it's itemized or logical doesn't matter, but of course, if it's something like a PO line, a vendor, or a user, then it can't be cataloged. So let's see, I saw a couple of chats come in. Let's see what anyone said, and you feel free to send in whatever you want on the chats because we don't say people's names, so no one will know it was you who asked. How did you get, someone asked, how did you get to manage sets before searching just now? Okay, I went to manage sets. It's not part of our discussion here. It's not part of the new metadata editor, but I went to admin and then to manage sets. Someone else says, can we still edit all the records on the authority control task list directly from the authority control task list, going back and forth from the individual's records as we've done in the past without creating sets? Yes. You can still go back and forth between the authority control task list. Let's do that. I'm going to make my resolution a tad smaller. I'm going to do Control O. Okay. So if I come here, if that's too small, someone tell me. I'll make it a little bigger anyway. So if I come now, when I go to, how's that? That's like a compromise. If I go to the authority control task list, I don't have to use the sets. I can still come and say, for example, edit. And then, let me get rid of this. Do whatever I want here. And then if I hide the metadata editor, I'm clicking on the bottom left, hide. Now I'm back in the authority control task list, and then I can edit again, and then I can hide again. Okay, so anything else on the set management in the new metadata editor before we move on to our next topic? Nothing. Great. Okay, so let's go on here. Where were we? Back to our list of topics. Brief level indicator in the new metadata editor. Again, we'll very briefly look at the PowerPoint just to make sure we're not losing any valuable information. Basically, what we've got now is a badge. We'll remind everybody what a badge is on top of the record, and that badge indicates the level, the brief level of the record. So let's take a look. Pre-March 2021. Here I am in a pre-March 2021, and I have no indication here of the brief level of the record. I have the cataloging level, which is here, but I don't have the brief level. Then in March 2021, now I have a brief level indicator. Let's take a look. Let's use the example we've got here, Mysteries of the Middle Ages, The Rise of Feminine Science and Art in Taiwan by Alicia Hen. Let's take a look. Mysteries of the Middle Ages, where are we here? Mysteries of the Middle Ages. Boom. Okay. Wonderful. So now if we edit this record, we see on top here an indicator that it's full. It's 10. It's level 10, which is full record. And when I put my mouse on it, I've got a indicator that is the brief level. For those of you who may not be familiar with the brief level, I will show under resource management here, and I'll send out the link. There's an explanation of the brief levels, and someone asked, does the brief levels need to be configured in advance? Yes, if you haven't configured brief levels, your records won't have a brief level. So it does need to be configured, and just in case anybody's interested in learning more about the brief levels, I will send that out, Control V, and if anyone wants to learn about brief levels, there you go. Okay, any questions or comments in addition to the question of brief levels? Okay. So somebody asks here, where does it show the format of the record besides the fixed fields? I'm not sure I follow that. It says, where does it show the format of the record besides the fixed fields? If you mean the format Mark 21 or Mark whatever, or Unimark or Chinese Mark or Core Mark or all of that, you've got it up here. There's also a badge for that format. If you mean a different format, let me know, and we can talk about that as well. Okay, so let's move on. Someone says the brief level link did not open for me. If the record has a brief level, it should be there. If you have the brief levels configured, it should be there. Let's try to keep with the itinerary now, though I'd like to go research every possible option, but we got 40 minutes left. Okay, great. What are the brief levels for, someone says? Well, I'll just mention that briefly, no pun intended. It's possible to give levels, for example, to say if a record doesn't have an ISBN, it's level 7. If it has an ISBN and an ISSN, but it doesn't have a subject, it's level 8 or level 4. And then you can see, you can do searches on them later. You can search by brief level. And you know what? I'm going to make myself a note here. That could be a good topic for another webinar. Great. So what is that? Oh, that's something else. I will just make myself a note here. Brief levels as webinar topic. Okay, let's go on. But in general, they're used to identify records which are lacking key major fields, like any record without an ISBN or an ISSN, or any record with no subjects, or any, you might want to do an RDA, a retroactive RDA implementation on the cataloging records and say anything without a 336, 337, 338, I want to identify, something like that. Okay, let's go on. So after the brief levels, we've got rules management. Okay, this is a hot topic, rules management. So now we can identify, or let's say we can manage the rules in the metadata editor at every stage. This is a 42-page PowerPoint. We're just going to close that right now. And we're going to jump right in and do it. So those of you who have been playing around with, someone says, would you do a session on mark edit within metadata editor? Ooh. Mark edit, you know, we have an API that can go back and forth. Okay. Let me just write that one down too. That's good. We're getting some ideas here. Mark edit, metadata editor. Okay. Maybe we'll do a joint one with Terry. Terry from the mark edit. That would be interesting. In any case, so those of you who have been playing around with the new metadata editor for a while will recall we've had this rules tab here for quite some time, but it was grayed out because it wasn't being used, but we had the infrastructure there already that it existed, but it didn't do anything. So now it does something. Someone says there's no audio. Does anyone else hear me, or just the person who said no audio? Anyone else hear me?
Yeah, you have been, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Everyone else says they hear me. Wonderful. So it must be a local problem for the person who said they don't hear me. Although she doesn't hear me telling that it must be a local problem. Okay, so anyway, so now we're in the rules tab, and we have all of the different rules. And when I say all of the different rules, we've got the normalization rules, the merge rules, the brief level rules, the indication rules, the authority heading rules, et cetera, et cetera. And when we say we can manage the rules, we mean that we can create rules, edit rules, delete rules, and most importantly, test rules. So let's take a look here. Those who were in one of the previous sessions when I talked about templates, the templates also, we have private shared in icons describing each. So same thing here. Here's the private tab where we see we have a picture of a person and a house. Then we have the shared rules, which have a picture of a blue house when it is a customized rule. And when it's a rule that comes out of the box, it's a gray house. We can't have a white house, because if we had a white house against a white background, you'd never see the house. So we have a blue house and a gray house, no white house. Then we have the community, and the community has the same icon as the records in the community zone. And that has a person, two people, two blue people. And that identifies that it's from the community. There may be cases where you don't see, for example, the community. And that's because here we have the option to filter this list. So if I click that link to filter, I can say, for example, I don't want to see the community. So I'll uncheck that, apply. And now we have only the private and the shared, and I don't have the community. So that's viewing them there. Then we can search within it. For example, if I want everyone that has a 245, this searches the name. And it searches a string in the name of the rule. And it doesn't have to be a full word. For example, if I say bed, I get embedded and embedding, because It's looking for a string anywhere inside the name of the rule. Those of you who do SQL, for example, it would be like doing like and then parentheses bed, like %, bed, %. It's just looking for the string in there. And then, of course, we can also sort them various ways, just like the cataloging templates. Right now, they're sorted alphabetically. It says afternoon, afternoon, big browse, Chinese. And then I could say here, descending, Z to A. And then we can also do it by creation time and all those other things. So now it's starting with YLK. This one's starting with a Hebrew word, which is after in the ASCII or whatever it is order of characters. It's at the end, so it's now at the beginning because I'm descending. Okay, anyway. Now, inside, someone just asked a question, which is a lead-in to my next comment. On the templates, I don't want that. I want that. Apply. Okay. So these here with the blue, if I right-click them, I can edit, duplicate, contribute, properties, and delete. The ones which are not blue but rather gray, if I right-click those, I can duplicate, contribute, and properties. I cannot delete. I can't delete one that's out of the box. Now, somebody asked, I'm going to get the exact text here. Control C. And here, let me file new blank document. And so somebody asks, why can't we delete the out-of-the-box rules? Many are so brief, they are useless. Okay, that was part of the design that was made with our colleagues. We can take this up and perhaps make a change here. Itai, if you want to make any comment, go ahead. But I've got it down here, and we'll see about that at another time.
Yeah, so we are aware of this feedback, and it's a clear request, and we are having some consideration for the future to address it. There's some option there, and it's something we are taking into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, what might actually be nice, but I don't want to start making development suggestions now. Actually, I do want to. What might be nice is like here that we can display scopes, maybe display out of the box or don't display out of the box. But we'll save that for another day. We'll leave that to the professionals. Okay, so next, let me just get this one here. We got another one, but it is 1628, so I do want to focus on the curriculum so we cover what we need. Someone says the process by which one opens up a bib record in a norm rule in the split editor for testing seems complicated. Okay, we're going to do that now. When users open a rule, they are prompted to test the rule on an external record more frequently when once. Okay. Let's go to that area. And thank you for the comments. Where are we? Someone else says each cataloger can edit rules and templates. It is not really safe. Okay, there are private rules as well that you can prevent anyone else from using. I don't want to get into the whole theory behind rules. Our goal here is to show how rules are managed in the new metadata editor and not necessarily, although that does, there is an overlap there. But in any case, so now let's say I want to test a rule. So I'm going to go to the rules. I'm going to get out of the scope business here. And let's take afternoon fix for 2:45 second indicator. This must have been, well, I can see. This was created on August 4th, 2020. So what do? Let's say I want to use this record that I got now, and I want to test a rule on it. And I have a rule that fixes the 2:45 second indicator. So I'm first of all going to change this so that my second indicator will be wrong. Let me close the chat here, because if I keep answering the chats, which I want to do, I won't be able to do anything. So now I want to test this. I have a rule which states if it's English, which it is here, and my record starts with a the, then my second indicator should be 4. So first step is I'm going to go to the split editor mode right here. Boom, we're in split edit. Then I'm going to focus on the right. I know I'm focused in the right pane. Pane, P-A-N-E, not the pain that hurts. And then while I'm focused on the right pane, I'm going to edit this. Now I can edit that simply by clicking the left mouse thing here, or the right and then edit. So now, oh, I see what you're saying. It says save and test using external record. Okay. But it automatically is testing the one here unless I do preview. So let's do a preview. You can see here I'm saying change the second indicator to 4 if exists 245 subfield A the. So I'm going to test it by preview. Boom. And oh, let me save this one because it's not working on this one here. Okay. And now I'll come back here, go to my normalization rule. So let's see here. It says if 008 position 35 for 3 is ing. Let me make sure that that's what it is. 008 position 35 for 3 ing, which it is. Let's go here, preview. Wonderful. So you can see here it's 4, here it's 0, which means it worked. Now, if I want to save my rule, someone asked a question which I sent an answer to on the Basecamp as a group. The way we develop these major developments is with a user group who we consult with along the way. We don't do it in a vacuum. So if I want to change this, I can save it here. I've got save. Just like when I save a record, for example, if I want to make this instead of THE, I'll make it ATHE and save, and then it gets saved like that. But I don't want the ATHE, I just want the THE and save. Okay, so I think due to our time, and actually we covered the basics, that's the rules management in the new metadata editor. We've got all the other rules here, which you can also play around with, our brief level rules, and all kinds of other things. Okay, I'm going to move on now. Someone says it saves the first time, but not the second time. Let's see. I made it A, and I A-that and saved it. Now I have that and saved it. Let's see if it really doesn't save. Well, that's pretty bad, but let's check it. I'm going to go to a different one. Then I'm going to open this one again and see if it did get saved. So now I'm going to open this one again. And it did get saved. I have the. First I saved it with a the, then I saved it with the second time it did get saved. But if there's a bug in there, send it in and we'll play around. Okay. Next topic, because we're at 1634, and one of these is going to be a little longer than the others. Where were we? So messages to users appear on the bottom in the new metadata editor. Okay, I'm actually going to use a rule for explaining one part of this. But first, let's look at the PowerPoint to make sure we're not missing anything essential here. Okay, so up until the current release, I'm, by the way, in the regular March release, the same March release you've got. I'm not in any kind of a special development environment or anything like that. And you see here that it appears on the screen, a window, which when these messages would come up, you need to go and click close, either with your mouse or focus the attention on the close using the tab or whatever it would be, and then enter. So you have to do something. You can't continue. You can't keep seeing the record. Now, they're there. Somebody said, can you send the link to the PowerPoints? I believe I already did. I'm going to do it again. Here we are. I'm going to send that out, and then everybody's got it. There you go. Okay. So this goes to the page with all of the sessions, not just for March 16th. So now, when we do it, where are we? Sorry about that. Here. Now, the new change is the messages are on the bottom. You see the blue line there. That's where the message is. So the user can keep working. If she or he wants to close the record, she or he can click that X over here on the bottom right. But there's no need to, because you can just keep working and nothing is obstructing your view of the record. Now let's go take a look. So one place where that comes into play is with the indication rules. So I'm going to actually also the brief rules, I believe. Let's go to an indication rule. And let's say I want an indication rule. I believe there's a nice one here that checks if there's a 020 or not. Yes. So now I've got an indication rule that says if there's a 020, then set the indication true. And if I say try it on the bottom right, so the message now is on the bottom. And I don't need to do anything. I can keep working. Maybe I want to go check if there's a 02, to change my rule to check if there's a 022. Again, I can click try it. Now it says information false on the bottom right. So I don't need to take my mouse and start clicking or focus the attention there and do a click. I can just keep working all the time. Another place where that comes into play is the Control M. Who knows what Control M is? Quick chat. Who knows Control M? Who's memorized all of the shortcut keys in the metadata editor? In and out. Find matches. That's right. Find matches. Not matches that you light a fire with. The matches like the same identifier. Okay, now the interesting thing that we discovered this morning is Control M is also mute in WebEx. So if I do a Control M now, I'm going to get muted. I'm going to test it one more time. I'm going to click my mouse inside the metadata editor. It muted me, and then I did it again to unmute. Let me make sure I'm unmuted. So I'm not going to use the shortcut. I don't know what's controlling. Maybe Itai, you know. Why is it? Why is WebEx taking priority over the metadata editor when I do Control M? That's interesting. Because Control F, other ones all do it, but we'll find that on another day.
Sure. We'll check it.
Yeah. And maybe someone would want it to do that, actually. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just the question, why does that happen? Okay, so I'll do it manually, which is record actions. By the way, if you ever want to do an internal training to make yourself really know part of Alma and all the shortcuts and where everything is, switch it to a language that you don't understand, a language in another character set, and then start doing it. And then if you do that for 2 days, it's like learning to type without looking. Then you'll really know Alma. You'll know where everything is without even reading. But anyway, so now let's do find matches. And again, it's on the bottom, find matches, no matches were found. It's not putting it right on the screen there, blocking my vision. And then if I want to close it, I'll click that X and it's gone. So it's a small, it might look like a very small thing that the messages are now on the bottom. However, it's a significant workflow improvement that you can just keep working without using your mouse and getting interrupted. Someone asks, where are all the metadata editor shortcuts listed? I believe there's a list inside the online help. Don't quote me, but I believe there is a list there. But in any case, they're all here in the menus as part of the menus. You can see them next to each of the menu options. So if they're not in the online help, they're all here, which is actually, I would think, better than the online help because it's online in use. But in any case, they're right here. Okay, 1640. Let's go on. I'll close this one. And let me just get this question. Someone took the time to write out a big, long question. Let me put it out into Word here so everyone can read. Is add local extension available in the new metadata editing action menu for CZ linked bib records? It's not appearing to me. I have several cataloging and repository roles. Control L works in the new metadata, and the old metadata is the menu. As far as I know, add local extension is available in the new metadata editor. However, again, don't quote me. I'm going to leave this here for us to check. At the end of the session, I will go through this with some others, and we'll see what's going on with that. But as far as I know, it is. Itai, if you have any comments, go ahead. And we'll leave that for checking afterwards. And if you, it is. Okay, so someone else, not Itai and not me, someone else, a user, said it is. So another user said it is. However, someone else says, we had trouble with that also. Sometimes your local extension works. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and this one. Sorry, I by accident got in the names, and I'm immediately going to get rid of those. Okay, nobody saw. So apparently there's an issue there because two people said, one said he or she doesn't see it, and the other one said he or she had issues with it. So we've got it. We'll check. I'll open a support case as well, so we've got something official in there, and we'll look into it. Okay, next. Where were we? I don't remember where we were. Do you remember where we were? Add a new holding record. Okay, this is probably, next to rules management, this is probably one of the most requested things. When people saw that we added add a new holdings record via the new menu, they said, well, why isn't it in the add inventory menu? So we put it in the add inventory menu. Let's go take a look. So in the old metadata, in the old new metadata editor, what they call the alt new one, or let's say the new metadata editor pre-March 2021, there was no add holding, as we see here under the add inventory menu. You had to do it from the new menu, which we see now on the screen. However, now in the March 2021 release, we do have the option under add inventory to add the holdings record. And that's what we're going to go do right now. So let's go take a brand new record. I'm going to say resources, search resources, just so I got something brand new. So you don't say, he's using something that he's already got, because who knows what. And let's go search for something here. Let's say Kentucky Library. Kentucky Library in the title. And I'll do keywords. I'm searching Library of Congress, search. And there we go. And I'll take any of them. Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky. Oh, it's a graphic. It's a picture. Well, we'll make it whatever we want. So I'm going to import that. And I'll put that in full view. Somebody asked a great question because it's a great lead into what I'm going to show in a minute. So now I still have, let me save this. And now I want to add a holdings record. So I have two options. I still have the menu from new. Under new, I still have to add the holdings record here, Mark 21 holdings. And I also have under add inventory, add holdings. Now somebody asks, Somebody says I can discover Control-Alt-H for adding a holdings record as well. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. So somebody says, let me make sure I don't have the name this time. I don't have the name. So somebody asks, can you change the template that is used, or is books default the only template option when adding holdings to add inventory? We're going to see in a moment how to change which holdings record is used. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. We're going to see shortly how that can be changed. So let me silence that. Sorry about that. I usually silence the phone before a webinar. Okay, so let's go take a look. So first of all, I can do it from here, from the add inventory, books. And let's take a look here. So now I've added the holdings record, and then I can add inventory. I'll add an item. By the way, here I don't have the option to add portfolio or add a digital representation because I'm coming from a holdings record. And then I save, and then I'm back. So I added the holdings record from the add inventory. Now, somebody asked, as I put it in the thing there, if the holdings record that is used there can be changed. You see here I'm using books default. You see here I'm using books default for Mark 21. There we are. And so two things. I can change the template, of course, by going to the templates, which we showed in our last session, and going to the holdings records, holding record templates, and editing whichever one I want. Here's the books default. I can edit it and change it. But if I want to use a different one, maybe I want default template for Alma University, for example. I want to use that one. Let me just take a look at that one before I change it. Okay, it looks pretty standard as well. So that we showed, and I'm going to show where you can learn more about it. Here in our previous session, one of the previous sessions, we showed the template configuration. Here, this is from the April 22nd session. Same link I sent out, same page, which has all 4 of the sessions. So the April 22 session has this template display configuration, and I'm gonna change which one will be used right now just to show that. So here we are, and I'll say under the new, we have templates display configuration. I'll go into the templates display configuration, and I'll say Control F, Alma University. And here it is. So I'll activate it. Display in menu, yes. So now I'll actually have 2 of them, because the other one, which was called Books Default, is also activated. If I go through all of my templates, here it is, Holdings Books Default, you see that's activated too. So now I've got 2 templates activated, and I can choose either one. So now we'll save, and I don't even have to log out and log in. I don't need to do anything. Let's go back to our bib record. And now, if I say add inventory, now, isn't that beautiful? Now I've got both of them. I've got the books default, and then I've got the other one, which we just activated now. Let's go to new, and here also I've got both of them. And you're strongly encouraged to see that other, the April 22nd, whatever date I said, session as well. You can also view the YouTube video. What we saw at the beginning, that you can search new metadata editor and you get all the videos. Okay, so let's see, it's 1650. Let me just see if there's any super important chats. But what if you already have a holding record? Whoa, a lot of them are coming. What if you already have a holding record but just want to update a call number? How do you find your existing holding record in the new editor? Okay, let's go find our existing holding record in the new metadata editor. So I'm going to close the chat now because after this one, we're going to go to our next topic. So while I have this record focused and I'm at records, I can come here and go to whatever other kinds I want. Here we are, holdings, and I can see it by the title that it's the Kentucky Derby one. So that's how I find it. I switch here to the holdings, and I see, according to title, all of the holdings records I had open. Okay. By the way, I also could have gone from the bib, Control-I, which is view inventory. So if I go here back to the bib, and I have this record focused, and I want to see the holdings record, Control-I, which is view inventory, and there is my holdings record there. I can view it, I can edit it, etc. That's probably an easier method. Okay, next. Next is a very, very specific, what's the word? Rare, but not really rare. Not rare like a steak not cooked a lot. Rare like not happening often. We had many, many words today which could go either way. We had the matches, and we had the pain, and now we have the rare. Sometimes we have the roles also. We talk about a user role. It could be the bread, or it could be the permissions to have privileges. In any case, so now we're on a rare case, but doesn't happen often. But when it does happen, it can be pretty annoying. So let's go take a look at that rare case. Copy and merge options for copy cataloging in the new metadata editor. So in this rare case, we didn't have the option to copy and merge. And let's take a look. Okay, and it's a very, very specific case that I wrote down exactly when it happens. And this is really how we need to get our description of issues. So we have the metadata editor is open with no records in edit mode. Okay, so let's take a look. I've got the metadata editor open, and there are no records in edit mode. User does search and browse, search resources, and the search interface opens. User does search and browse, search resources, and the search interface opens. Okay, so far so good. Then, user changes metadata editor to split editor mode and puts a record in the right pane. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to switch it to split editor mode. I'm going to focus on the right and put a record in the right. Now I'm going to search. Now, previously in the February release, and I have pictures, we would only have view and import. We would not have the copy and overlay, copy merge, and merge preview. That's both in the initial search results and when we do view to see the whole record. And here you'll see, and we're going to do it live in a moment, here you see that we only have view and import. We don't have copy, copy and merge and overlay. And if I click here, view, to get the record in whole, I have import here, but I don't have copy and merge, merge and overlay. Now we're going to go into the March release. And now you see here, I'm going to go live in a minute. Now, first I want to show you what we're doing. Now I do have the copy and the merge options. And here also I have the copy, and when I do the full view, I've got also the copy and overlay, copy and merge, merge preview. Okay. Now note, the record that I have open at the beginning is the 1937 Kentucky Derby. And I'm going to search here for something else. Let's search, instead of Kentucky Library, let's search for Montana Library. And there we go. Now I'll take this first one. So first of all, now you see I do have the copy and overlay. I do have the options that I didn't have before. Now if I do view, my original record that I had open at the start is on the right. where it started from. And its 1937 Kentucky Derby is on the right. Then on the left is the record that I just brought in. And now I have all of the other options here to import, copy and overlay, copy and merge preview. So what was missing, we've added. In that unique case, most people don't do the copy cataloging like that, but they're here. Let me go take a look at the chats. We got 3 minutes. Chat. Someone asked, when will be able to merge and combine inventory in the new metadata editor? Okay, I'm going to leave that. Itai, do you want to comment on that? I'm going to put that out into the Word document so you can see exactly what they wrote. And when will we be able to merge and combine inventory in the new metadata editor? Someone says, the same person says they can only do it in the old metadata editor. Or would you like us to check that later?
I think we should check it out later. It's, as far as I know, it should work. So maybe it's in a certain workflow. It doesn't work or expected.
Okay, so we'll check that one as well. Somebody else asks, the Alt F1 shortcut, alternate graphic representation, disappeared in the new metadata editor. Really? Let's go take a look. That's one of my favorites, the alternate graphic representation. I say that seriously because, you know, if you use the shortcut, you know, probably already a year ago at least, we added to automatically add by many different characters, and then there's even an option to flip them. So the 880 will be the 245, for example, and the 245 will be the 880. But let's take a look. So if I'm in the 245 here and I want to add an alternate graphic representation, here, alternate graphic representation, here we are. Yes, I see that there is no shortcut key there, correct. And you say it was, let me go back to the chat. Now here's someone who knows them by heart. He or she knows what it used to be. So many more came, oh, there it is, Alt F1. Let me just see if Alt F1 is gonna work. Because I have a feeling, let me try it, Alt F1. Nope. Okay, so we're going to have to check that one because I see it's not there. Again, Alt F1. Okay. Do I have that in my Word document? Yes. Okay. All right, so we're at 16:58. Let's see if there's another question we can cover. Can we still see the LOD linked open data? Info for a record in the new metadata editor, the tab is gone for that view. Itai, you want to comment on that? I'll put it out into Word in case you didn't hear.
So if you're looking on view related data?
Yep. So I've got this one here, view related data. It's not in a tab anymore. View linked data. And there we go. So that's where you see it. Does that answer your question? Because we take the linked open data very seriously. So she says, he or she says, yes, thanks. Okay. All right. I think we're going to end here because everybody's got meetings, including me, at 5 o'clock. So we will be posting the recording of this to YouTube. It will also be on the education page that we saw at the beginning. And we thank everyone for coming, and we hope to see you in our next sessions. By the way, you may have seen we sent out a message to the Alma list. Next month, we're going to have one on cloud apps. Very strongly recommended that you attend the cloud app session as well. Have a nice day, and thanks again for coming. Bye-bye.